Well, good morning, folks. Let's start the day off by looking at a little Atlas shaper that's listed here on our favorite auction site. Now, there's some good about this shaper and there's some bad about this shaper. And one of the things I noticed is I was here looking at this, probably an hour ago is when I first noticed it. It's a new listing, of course, and it's a Atlas 7, and it's listed as a Atlas 7AB metal shaper shaping machine, tools, lathe, milling, can ship. Okay, now it's listed at $12.50, which of course I think is too much, but I'll get into that a little bit more as we go along. One of the interesting things, and this is a pattern with a lot of these sellers, and this is a seller that's been around for a while, good feedback and all of that. Not one of the guys that is consistently hammering out Atlas machines or Atlas parts. So there again, nothing against the seller, don't know, nothing about it. The thing that I do notice, and it's become a recurring event with a lot of these sellers, is this was a new listing. I looked at it not more than an hour ago. When I got back to the computer a few minutes ago, I've already received an offer of $11.50 from the seller, which is about 8% off, I think it told me. But if we can afford to sell it for that right off the bat, why are we not listing it for that? Why are we listing it for a higher amount and then immediately turning around and putting out an offer to sell it cheaper? To me, this is kind of, I see a lot of this now, and it's somewhat irritating, because if you don't need $12.50 out of it to start with and you can sell it for $11.50, why are you not listing it for $11.50? I've got a problem with that. Anyway, let's go on down. Let's read the description. And like I say, there's some good and some bad. Atlas, and it's listed as a 7AB. Atlas 7AB metal shaper, motor runs and machine works, but do not know how to fully test it. Missing side covers and the power switch is disconnected, in parentheses, motor runs on a power cord. The upper table, polish surface is about 6 by 6 3/4 inches, sides are a little longer. Local pickup at this time, can ship freight. Please email complete address, commercial, residential, and if liftgate is needed to unload for a quote from Yellow Freight YRC. Okay, so nothing really, I'm not slamming that description at all. It's a description. So, and I will throw pictures to this up too, because this is interesting to me. Now, this appears to be, it's not on an original stand, it's just on some sort of a little tray that probably doesn't even come with it, but nonetheless, the shaper is relatively original to me. The paint's a little bit chipped. It's one of the earlier colors that they did. When you look down at the side, it's got a larger Timken bearing sticker on the side of it, which is one that they put on fairly early, I believe. I don't really remember seeing it. It is a Model B, so it's got the foot underneath the table, the later style crossfeed cover and assembly. Now, some things that I note about it. Actually, I guess I won't do that yet. It does have the crank handle. Now, there's no accessories with this other than the handle. It's got a tool holder in the clapper box, but it is a lathe tool holder. It's not the original Atlas or the shaper tool holder. There's no vise. There's no other accessories with it as near as I can see. But I believe it is relatively original. So to me, that's a plus. This machine's not been repainted. It doesn't look exceptionally bad. It's got wear on it, but this machine's how many years old? I don't remember exactly when they discontinued the shapers. On the lathes, they discontinued the 10-inch lathe in 1957. So, and I know that because I just looked it up. We'll get into that here later today. But initially, the machine looks relatively good for original condition lathe. It is missing the covers and some other stuff that's not actually listed here. So this is just so you're aware. Second picture shows the other side of the machine. It's got the original countershaft assembly. The pulleys look pretty good on it. I've got no complaints there. And I'm going to go through the pictures and then we'll go back and talk about it a little bit. Third picture shows another of the right-hand side view if you're looking at it. There again, relatively clean machine for its age. You know, I think that's a definite plus with this machine. I'm just kind of going on through the pictures and seeing what else pops up to me. Now, the motor has been replaced. It's a grungy looking motor, somebody else's thing. You know, and it's not wired through the switch, they've already said, so that motor's probably a piece of crap from looking at it. You know, it's nothing. They say it runs, you know, I have no reason to doubt that, so, you know, who knows. So what I see with this machine, and it is a Model 7 AB. Now, it seems as though you don't see very many Mark 7 AB, and I don't know exactly where the transition is on that. I think maybe that has something to do with the belt guards being an option at that time, although I don't remember. We talked about that for a while here not too long ago. I know on the milling machines they did a transition, and for part of the time the guards on the milling machine were a optional accessory, and that may be the case with these. I don't honestly remember. Serial number is 2287, so it's a fairly early machine. And with that designation, I believe it's a fairly early machine, but there again, like I say, it's relatively original. So the things I see wrong with it, let's go back to the first picture so I can tell as much there as anything else. So just for informational purposes now, the scale on the side of it looks to have been tweaked a little bit, and I say that because it looks like the end of the scale itself that's on the top of the ways is rolled up a little bit. So that's been tweaked out of shape, I'm guessing, and hooked on the pointer or something along the way. So that's not a major issue. That's just something I noticed. As I said before, the tool holder is a lathe tool holder, no original tool shaper tool holder. Now when we look on, and all of the problems with this machine are at the back of it. And I believe this machine has probably fallen over at some time or been tipped over, you know, whatever the case may be. The reason I say that is everything on the back end is gone. What they don't tell you and what is missing is the oil tray. And that in and of itself, you know, maybe somebody broke the oil tray just like on mine. They fall over and it breaks a smaller guard, which is why the smaller guard is normally missing on these, and sometimes breaks a stud out of the side of the oil tray, so the oil tray's trashed. So, and I believe that's what's happened, but that is reinforced to me by the fact that the brake lever, or the lever that engages the countershaft assembly and acts as a brake, has a brake shoe on there, is a different color. So what I believe has happened is this machine has fallen over, very possibly on the right hand side as you're looking where the larger guard would be. That hit the ground, broke probably that guard, the oil tray, and possibly the guard on the other side, and that handle that engages the countershaft and the brake. So that's been replaced. It's a different color. So that's why I believe it's been tipped over. So the rest of the machine looks relatively good for its age. You know, I can't trash on the machine. I think this would be a very good machine to have, but as always, not for $1,250 or even for $1,150. In my mind, this is, in this condition, missing the parts that it's missing, this is a $500 to $600 machine. And right now I'm actually valuing these machines a little bit higher than I would have times past. And I've said before, and then here in the next few days, I'll have to do a video of why I'm feeling that way. And it's because of our economy and the way things are in the world right now. So anyway, I would speculate this is, you know, maybe a $600 machine would be the most I would get for it. When you look at it from a functionality standpoint, the machine is functional, but it would need an oil tray, and a lot of guys will run these without an oil tray. You're going to dump oil down the back of the machine and on the motor and everything, so I feel that an oil tray on these is a necessary item. Now there has been an oil tray listed for $69, which, as I said before, is I think a very good deal. So you're going to have another, $60 to $150 in an oil tray, depending on where you get one. Normally, I think there's a couple others listed for like $130, $140. My reproductions are, the last ones I did were about $120. I'm probably going to drop that a little bit just to try and help everybody out and keep these prices down a little bit more. So figure if you've got $75 there, the larger guard, those are tough to come by. At some point I will probably start reproducing those again, but for me those are going to be a 2.25 probably guard. You see them used, they're wanting any place from $300 on up is what I've seen the last few go for. And the smaller guard, you're into them usually $125, $150. Then there's going to be the hinge bracket that goes underneath for the large guard. The smaller guard, if I'm casting an oil tray, I put the stud in it, so there's no other mounting things necessary for that. But you're going to be into that machine another $350, $455, $500 to $700 just to put the guarding back on the rest of it. And then whatever else the machine may very well need. You're going to probably want to replace belts on it. The motor, maybe the motor's fine. I would speculate that at some point you're going to have to change that motor again. So, and that will put that machine into that $1,200 range to get it fully, the guards fully on it and done. You still don't have a vise to go on it, so if you're searching for an original vise, you've got another $200 to $400 there, depending on when you can find them and the condition. Tool holder, it will work with that lathe tool holder. You see a lot of them run with that. If you're wanting an original Atlas tool holder to go back on, you're probably in another $100 into that, and then whatever other accessories or tooling you need. So nice little machine, nice little base machine, I think, to start with, but I think it's, like most of the stuff we're seeing here, is overpriced. So just my 2 cents on it. Hopefully that gives you a little more information about these when you're searching for machines, some of the things to be looking for. Hopefully you find it useful, and will help you in your search for machines or as you evaluate machines. And as always, thanks for taking the time to watch, guys.